Yeah,
But
we'll see.
that's actually what I was wondering about is the timing of the orbital command, and I think this is about normal timing for orbital command, so that's pretty good by the Terran. A lot of time when beta first came out, Terrans were making the orbital command very late.
Okay.
And that was really inoptimal because they figured that while you're building your orbital command, you can't build more SCVs, so they were delaying it and focusing on production, but they were getting behind in the long term because they weren't getting their mules out fast enough.
So check this out. We have this one Marine just checking around the entire base, checking for any kind of cheese.
Which is really cute because in the Zerg games that we watched earlier, we had a drone scouting the whole base against Protoss.
Yeah, so this is great. I mean, the thing is, the AI itself is not, I don't think, advanced to do cheese, but against a human opponent, that would be huge.
Yeah.
So we do have 3 zealots out coming in to chase this SCV down, finally get the scout out of the base. Chrono boosting another zealot out, and a robo
facility.
Facility. I keep saying bay, and that's wrong.
That's the
the expansion pack,
which is going to go next. So it looks like they're going for without even getting anything out of the robo facility.
Now I love this. Now that we've watched Protoss a few times, we've seen different build orders almost every time.
Protoss has a lot of flexibility in builds, at least from what the AI is doing, and I think this is a nice build because of the fact that the Protoss saw the multiple barracks. It's going to be an infantry build coming from the Terran, so that they're getting the robotics bay and getting Colossus out because that's the only reason why you would be getting a robotics bay. Very cool by Protoss, and it looks like they're focusing, at least from what I can see so far, on a warp gate to zealots to support the Colossus. Interesting.
And now these zealots also scouting the whole base, just checking for any kind of cheese, and we do have SCV just on a wacky patrol here, just making sure nothing's coming down.
See, but the AI does understand that you need to rally to the top of your ramp, which is weird. So it must have some sort of at least rudimentary understanding of the whole ramp concept.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And the Protoss also sent those zealots to scout around his base looking for proxies as well.
So we do have the first push coming out, but we also have a Colossus on the way.
I don't know that
from the
Colossus
Protoss.
will finish unless it gets chrono boost. It needs to get chrono boosted. And is it going to? I don't think so. At least not yet.
Let's watch this
no,
closely.
and instead he chrono boosts a gateway.
Stalker, but he has not seen the attack coming in until just now, I believe. Seeing the edge of that attack. And now let's see how Protoss responds. Going to respond by
giving up his
away
ramp.
from the ramp.
Yeah,
what are we
that's
doing
good.
here, buddy?
This is going to be
I still think the Colossus might come out just in time.
Oh my god, I really want to
Wow.
see this. Those Marines are going to do so much damage. I don't think the Zealots are going to be able to stand up to it. You don't want to fight Marines on a ramp like that. The range units are always going to have the advantage. This is what Protoss did last game versus Hydralisks, and you just don't want to fight range like that.
We have Colossus, coming out. Is that going to be enough? Now we see
Looks
is
like
Terran
Terran's
actually
just going to run away. Run away from the Colossus.
Now-
That's cool. That's actually smart.
But
That's
would this
good
have been
play.
enough units though to take down that? I feel like that might have been enough to take it down regardless.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
I guess maybe
Colossus are really strong,
I'm
but
sure-
without the attack upgrade, it probably would have been enough. The
Yeah.
thermal lances upgrade.
I'm sure there's some kind of algorithm going on and with the AI to be able to gauge exactly what's worth it and what's not.
Yeah.
So we don't see anything else going on for Terran right now except for everything coming back to
Massing
his base.
infantry, which is really strong, but it's going to die to those Colossus once the Protoss gets more than one or two of them.
Another Colossus on the way, but we do have combat shields and stim pack being researched.
And this is actually interesting. I'm curious about the thermal lances upgrade. It hasn't been completed yet, has it? No.
No, it hasn't even been started.
Human players will prioritize that immensely and make sure to get that thermal lances upgrade immediately, maybe even before that first Colossus. So it's really awkward to me to see that the Protoss is not really prioritizing that upgrade.
So we do have Protoss going for a counterattack, which with a very small force, which is not really a
gonna
good
survive.
idea.
And I think this Colossus is going to get completely destroyed by these. It seems like the computers do not have much restraint at all in their attack timings, and with those, if those Marauders get another volley off, they're just going to slow those
everything
units
down. But looks like they avoided...
Nice retreating.
Yeah.
Bad attacking, nice retreating.
So we have APMs going through the roof around 300 or so.
Which, and actually, this is a really interesting thing to note, is that even regardless of your extreme high APM, strategy is still important because we do see the AIs making some tactical blunders. And I think that even with that incredibly high APM, they're still able to fall behind to much lower APM with those blunders.
So now we do see Terran has gone for a factory into a starport build.
And a command center at their natural. So they're
expansion
expanding
going down.
with their push. It seems like all of these AIs only expand once they have a strong push going out of at about 70 to 80 food push is when they choose to expand, which is a pretty late expansion by traditional standards.
Now, I do
StarCraft
like
2.
one thing that people could take away from the AI at least is how it's constantly scouting. You have that
that probe has been really active
all around the map. Now
going up the back door,
Terran
and the
back.
Protoss is
Oh
not
my God.
aware of this. He has to relocate all of his army.
back. But we do have 2 Stalkers, which might be enough.
Colossuses.
But Stim is finished. I'm sorry, Colossuses. Thank you.
I don't think there's just way too many Terran units, but the Terran units are not prioritizing the Colossuses. They really should run forward and get the Colossus. That's not how you fight Colossuses. You kill the Colossus as fast as you can.
Well, those Guardian shields were great for that entire against the
Colossus
Terran
didn't even
infantry.
take damage. This really shows you if you don't pressure the Colossus, how much damage they can do. That was sick.
Yeah, that was sick. I mean, if Terran had prioritized those 2 Colossi, it would have been pretty much an even trade battle at that point, I feel like.
I think you know what? Honestly, having played this matchup, I think that if the Terran took out those 2 Colossus immediately and they fall pretty quick, he would have come out of that way ahead.
Yeah.
He just had so much infantry, and that just yeah. He would have owned. Terran would have just won if he took out those 2 Colossuses.
So we do see Protoss going for more Immortals, which that's a very interesting. That's a weird decision against Marines. I don't feel like that's a good decision at all.
No, it's not that great. They're good against they're good against the things that shoot the slowing things that are called Marauders, but they're no, there's nothing in that actually.
Nothing in that, but he's going for a scout. Great.
Yeah, really good. This is a good thing to do actually if you're careful when you get an early dropship or something like that.
And you're not using it for any direct battle, just going for a scout. That's I feel like the AI is giving us a couple things to play off of.
It's actually really there's a couple things to learn, and it's really good versus Terran where you have those medevacs you get an advantage just by showing them because you're threatening a drop when in reality the medevacs have another use, which is healing your army. So. Whereas as Protoss, you wouldn't necessarily want to show your dropship if you're planning a drop because you're revealing yourself. As Terran, you're threatening it and you're forcing them to stay in their base somewhat, or at least consider the possibility of a drop.
So we do have Vikings coming out, which is a pretty good choice. I mean, well, there are enough Stalkers and Sentries, but those would be good against the Colossi, just if they can get on the fringe a little bit, which I don't know if they have that kind of micro or thought process to deal with. But we do see a Protoss attack coming in.
Across the map. I still don't think... I mean, it's pretty interesting. I wonder what the army count is. It's actually way in favor of Terran. Terran has... Well, actually, it's not way in favor. I thought this is 52 for Protoss. No, this is actually pretty even. And once again, if the Terran does not focus the Colossus, they will tear through everything.
Yeah, and I don't know if Terran's going to stop this push at all.
Those Colossus just destroy
everything. Damn. And I was getting all excited too with those 2 expansions going up already, thinking maybe we're going to get into like a late AI game.
Yeah, very, very. See, I'm just so disappointed with Terran's. The choice of targets. I mean, I feel like these are things actually that are not flaws of the AI, but are obviously errors in the way that the AI is programmed. Like, it should be programmed to prioritize the Colossus. And now it's attacking the Colossus with the Vikings, but then the Vikings land to fight the ground army.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like...
It's a pretty bad choice.
Those aren't strategic errors. Those are just like, hell, you're going to shoot the Colossus first.
Yeah.
So maybe that's misprogramming by Blizzard, and I hope this isn't showing us how Blizzard thinks the game should be played. Because...
Well, I mean, that's on a very micro level, but still, the builds themselves were interesting. I mean, they were kind of standard, but interesting enough.
Yeah. I like the strong robo pressure by the Protoss. I didn't like how late the expansion came for both races, actually. But,
yeah, well, that seems to be a theme across all the games that we have watched.
Which makes sense, I guess, from the way Blizzard is programming their AIs to give challenges to players. So it's this strong mid-game push that's coming off of one base, which makes sense in that respect. So this is really good to look at if you're looking to make a strong early push. Not so much if you want to play a standard long game and an economic game, but for like an early push off of one base, especially for a player just starting out that doesn't really know how to handle expanding yet.
Yeah. It's great, and it sets you up to go online to at least survive that first part, and then deal and learn the rest as you go.
Yeah.
And I guess computers don't GG against each other because they have no souls.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they do. Maybe we have no souls. Maybe we're just biological computers.
Has a singularity happened and we didn't realize it?
I don't know I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, that was a GG for me.
Yeah, that was good.
The one thing I'd like to talk about real quickly while we're still just in this cast is while we're talking... Oops. I left. While we're talking about build orders, I did learn one interesting build order from the Protoss in the first game that I played, and that was... It went for... especially because I'm a new Protoss player, as I've been playing Protoss and Terran a lot more lately.
Yeah.
So it went Gateway into Cybercore, into Double Robo, back into Gateway. And so it had just like 3 Zealots up front, crapload of Immortals pouring out, and a bunch of Stalkers. And it was just great. And also like 2 Sentries just to have Guardian Shields. And it was just such a powerful push of you have the Immortals to just wreck anything on the ground. You have the Stalkers in case they have air that early in the game.
Yeah.
And I liked the build so much that I went online and tried it. And again, I'm a noob as Protoss, so I'm the amateur Protoss player.
Yeah.
I went online, used that build against a favored opponent, and I just crushed him.